I'm going to show you how to get a 3.2% interest rate in today's market for your New Orleans, for your Mandeville, for your Covington, Louisiana home. That's 3.2% interest today. So we've been dealing with high interest rates since like early 2022 now, and everybody, I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people have said, we're going to wait as a buyer until the rates come down. And here's what we know, here's what we've learned, that rates are not going to go from, say, 7% to 6% overnight. It just doesn't happen. And in fact, rates today are about 1.6, 1.7% lower than they were at their peaks. So the peak was, it really was 8% for a little bit. Now they're down to 6.2, 6.3, 6.1, depending who you are and your credit and debt to income ratio. You might even be able to get it below 6 in today's market. And yet a lot of buyers are still saying, we're gonna wait. So if you're one of those buyers like, I want my lower rate, I want 2.3, I want 3.2% interest, that's what I want for my mortgage. Here's how to get it done. Here's how you get the 3.2% interest rate. Go to envoymortgage.com. Now, Envoy is our mortgage company, which I've mentioned in the past. You see their button on our blog page and also in our emails. You can, when you click that, you connect with Todd Johnson, who's our go-to beast mode lender. He's great. He's been doing this as long, if not longer, that I've been a realtor, and that's going on over 2 decades now. And also, he's an experienced investor. So if you're ever interested in investing, Todd's the guy to go to. So you're here on envoymortgage.com, go to the loan process, click on mortgage calculators. Boom. Here it is open in another page for us. And what I put down is select the 3-2-1 buy down. You can play with different scenarios. Like the 1-0 buy down, we can get that to you for free. 3-2-1 buy down is like the biggest, best deal. If let's just say you're borrowing $350,000, whether that's the full contract price on the home you're buying and you want to finance 100%, or you are, you're putting down 10, 20, or even just 3.5% on an FHA loan. You're borrowing $350 in this scenario. The current rate is about 6.2%. Depending on your credit and your debt to income, it might be a little bit higher, might be a little bit lower. If it's really good, you might even be under 6% in today's environment, which is a far cry from 8% a couple of years back. So in this model, I had already pressed update. This is what's called the buy down fee, right? So the fee to get in year one, a 3.2% interest rate, and then a 4.2% interest rate in year two. So 3.2% for year one that you own the home. The next year you're paying 4.2. The third year you're paying 5.2%. And you can see what your principal and interest payments are, how they go up. After the end of the third year, you're paying that market rate of 6.2%, which would be the market rate when you bought the house. All right, plus taxes and insurance. So why would I do that? Well, this fee here, this $15,400, you can ask the seller to pay for it. I'll say that again. You can ask the seller to pay for it as part of the closing costs and prepaids. And we know how to write that into the offer for you. So if you ever thought about, like, I really want to buy a home, I want to get in for a lower rate, then, okay, this is the way to do it. And then you're saying, well, wait a second. Like, I'm still going to wind up paying 6.2%. Maybe. Here's why this is a good idea in today's market. And full disclaimer, do your own research, right? What I'm about to say is my opinion, but we do believe rates are going to continue to come down. Again, high used to be 8%, like in 2023. Now it's down to about 6.2%. That's a 1.8% decline. What we know is that rates don't drop overnight. I said that before. It's not going to go from 6.5 to 5.5 from one day to the next. It's a slow trickle down. Sometimes they tick up, they trickle down again. So if you're asking for the seller to pay for this, right, you can see what your payments are. The Federal Reserve sets the interest rates for the country, and that's the borrowing rate. All right. And that does, in a sideways way, tangential way, affect mortgage rates. So what happens is there's a Federal Reserve chair, right? That gentleman, his name is Jerome Powell, his term expires in the spring of 2026. And if you've heard the news, this is not political, I'm just telling you the facts, right? The president has encouraged strongly, I guess I will say, to have the Fed chair lower the interest rate more aggressively because of the interest that the government pays on the government debt, which is really high. And so the government pays a lot of interest on their debt. So the president wants to pay less interest on the debt. That's why he wants them lower. And it helps stimulate business like real estate. So the next Fed chair, which is nominated by the president, is going to align guaranteed more closely with what the president wants the interest rates to be. And we know those will be lower rates. So how does it affect you? Why do you care? Well, if in year one, you're paying 3.2, and year two, you're paying 4.2, and suddenly, you realize, well, there's a new Fed chair, rates are down to say 5%. That would be a good time to refinance, wouldn't it? You can lock in a permanent 5% interest rate for the remainder for a new loan, refinance, and then you have a new 30-year mortgage at 5%. And you'd be paying somewhere around, a little under $1,900 a month. Wow, that's kind of a good deal. Yeah, that's what the power of the buy down does for you, because we're expecting interest rates to be lower in the future. Again, do your own research. Here's another little lagniappe for us who know what lagniappe means. As you're watching this, little something extra. You have this subsidy that ideally you've asked the seller to pay for you. Year one subsidy, year two subsidy, year three subsidy. Each year, if the subsidy is not used, from my understanding, and confirm this with Todd, let's say you refinance in year two, you used these subsidies, but that balance right there, that $221 for year three, that would be returned to you in some form because it's unused money. The bank does not get to keep that. It is returned to you because you refinanced and created a new loan. You never used that year three subsidy. So that's a little something extra right there for you. So I just wanted to share that with you. This is a way that you can buy a home now, get the low rate that everybody is daydreaming of and expecting, which they may never get down to 3.2 in the future. If they do, great, but I wouldn't expect it. But can we expect below 6? Yeah, we certainly can. And you get a home. And America, in a lot of ways, is built on the dream of home ownership. It is proven that home ownership builds communities, builds families, and for you as a home, it builds memories. You don't have to, you're not paying the landlord's mortgage for him or her. You can paint when you want. You can make as much noise as you like without the landlord being told, except, you may upset your neighbors, but then you're building memories and you have your own home. And that is, for many, 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 many people, is a big deal. And so this is a way you can get in for less. I wanted to share this with you, show you the screen, because sometimes that picture is worth way more than me telling you about it. So if you have any questions, feel to reach out to us, reach out to Todd, check out envoymortgage.com and play with the calculators. We're here to help you. Give the video a thumbs up. You can subscribe to the channel as you like. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time. Bye-bye.